Chief? Chief, can you hear me? At last. Are you all right? Can you move? Yeah, there's the impact. There's nothing we can do.
Alright, hello everyone. Welcome back to Let's Play Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary Edition. So we've just arrived here on Halo.
Warning. I've detected multiple Covenant dropships on approach. I recommend moving
Yes,
into those
yes.
hills.
Master Chief probably pinballed his way around that escape pod. We're gonna come right over here because the first skull is over here, right behind this rock. There we go. That's the mythic skull, and if you turn that one on, it means that the Covenant have twice the health, and any sentinels you encounter also have shields.
I'm reading thousands of types of flora. The ring's ecosystem is incredibly sophisticated.
Yes, there are many, many types of flora, and even originally the design of this game would have like fauna. Yeah, so like animals roaming around Halo, but of course that was never quite implemented.
I recommend immediate evasion.
And as you can see, the bridge here is changed. Let's get to it, shall we? There's a kind of a fun fan theory about how all the Marines died in the crash of that dropship, and Master Chief is the only one to survive. And it goes basically something like, since he was the only one who wasn't like seated and strapped in to a chair, when they basically entered the atmosphere, he started like pinballing around the inside of the dropship, the lifeboat. And because he's so heavy with all his armor and stuff like that, and so big, essentially he killed everyone when he smashed into all the bodies of the Marines and the pilot who were strapped in. So yep, Master Chief is indirectly responsible for the death of all those men, you know, and the women who were aboard that lifeboat. But anyway, that's not like confirmed or anything, that's just a popular theory. Alright, as usual, we are doming these guys. I will say on the upshot, although I'm not a fan of the Anniversary Edition's graphics necessarily, on the upshot they do make the Halo world look a bit nicer with more details. Unfortunately, I cannot necessarily say the same thing about the Pillar of Autumn, the interior, or the interior of the Covenant ships. I think, in general, they look really busy and overly designed. But in terms of like the trees and the grass and the rocks and all that, it looks really nice. That's one improvement. But I think the biggest complaint about the Anniversary Edition is that the original graphics have a certain kind of charm, if you will, to them, and it kind of fits the sort of pulpy nature of the game and the story.
I'm reading a lifeboat beacon over the next hill. We should check to see if there are any survivors.
Anyway, let me talk a little bit about these Covenant dropships that are coming in and dropping off the troops. So these are actually called Dextrosur, or DX pattern dropships. And they're manufactured by assembly forges on the Covenant worlds. Generally they have one pilot and one systems operator or gunner, as well as reportedly they have capacity for 30 passengers. I don't know, because we never see them actually discharge 30 troops into the field, but these were the most commonly used dropships during the war, during the Human Covenant War. And on several occasions, they have been captured by humans, and that has sparked debates within the Covenant about whether or not they should either install a self-destruct mechanism or execute the crew for letting their vessels fall into enemy hands. Eventually, the UNSC did build simulators based around the design of the DX dropships to familiarize their personnel with their operation and kind of with the operation of general Covenant technology. As you can see, they have a small mounted blaster or plasma cannon on the underside of them. Doesn't cause a huge amount of damage, but it's there largely for self-defense. It is not exactly a heavily armed vessel. Although if you ask me, it generally looks like a giant purple tuning fork. But whatever, it's what they got. And there are, of course, different variants of this thing as well. But we only see this one variant here. But since it is the most common variant of this pattern of dropship, I mean, they would be serving with this particular fleet that is arrayed around this halo. And here comes another dropship. Now, if you notice this sort of structure that we're fighting around, these triangular shaped towers are actually known as beacon or beam emitter towers. And they actually serve a number of purposes on the Halo rings. Everything from basically communication to navigation to energy transfer. Now, one of the fun things to do, particularly in the original Halo, probably in this one as well, is that if you manage to actually get up, onto the tower, and you stand in the path of the beam, which shoots up every so often, you will be instantly killed, and your body will be just flung hundreds of feet up into the air.
More of them.
But anyway, they are beam emitter towers, and they serve a variety of purposes.
Charlie, we read you. Is that you, Forerunner?
Roger, Fire Team Charlie. Good to hear from you.
Forerunner, we need transportation to the command shuttle.
I'm on my way.
Look, more lifeboats. They're coming in fast. If those lifeboats make it down, the Covenant are going to be right on top of them.
Forerunner, we need you to disengage your warthog. The Master Chief and I are going to see if we can save some soldiers.
Roger, Cortana. Okay, Charlie Team, Warthog deployed. Saddle up and give them hell.
Roger, Forerunner. Stand by to evac survivors and transport them to safety.
That's affirmative. Echo 419 staying on station. Forerunner out.
The Master Chief and I need some backup. Can you spare a few men?
Sure, Cortana. All right, who's in? Volunteers step up, on the double. The rest of you, get to the dropship.
Okay, well, we got our first vehicle that we can drive around in Halo. This vehicle is the AMG Transport Dynamics M12 Force Application Vehicle, commonly known as the Warthog. The vehicle actually gets its name from the two towing hooks on the front winch, which resemble the tusks of an African boar. These vehicles are powered by hydrogen fuel cells, which give the vehicle a range of 490 miles before they need refueling. And 1 second here, let me just jump out, because we have another school here. We climb up sort of on this, the side of this wall here. And just follow the plant growth. It's not there. it is. So that is the boom skull.
Survivors will probably stick close to their emergency.
And the boom skull
We
actually
need to find
makes
where the life
explosions
is
have twice their blast radius. So they are more deadly. Alright, let's get back to the hog. So these warthogs have a high suspension system and nanotube lined wheels, which makes them very durable, great for off-roading capabilities and all that. The most common variant is the M12B,
This cave
which
is
is
not a
a
natural
lightly
formation.
armored vehicle. It
Someone
has a
built it.
pneumatically powered
So it
swivel
must
mount
be
in the
used.
back that can mount a variety of turrets.
I've hacked into
The
covenant
version we
battle.
have is the light reconnaissance vehicle that mounts the M46 light anti-aircraft gun, commonly known as a
Show them
Vulcan.
who they're dealing with.
This is a triple-barreled electric
Chief,
Gatling gun
I'm going to
firing the
use the suit's
M255
transcom system to monitor their
12.7
chatter.
by 99mm high-velocity explosive rounds from a linkless belt-fed drum magazine. Let me grab this terminal right here.
I am experiencing such a mixture of anticipation and dread. All preparations are complete for my installation. In accordance with the final dictum of the Ecumene Council, I have released myself of all remaining connections to my former station. This was not difficult. What was could never be again. We had seen to that quite thoroughly. Prior to my final journey through the Great Portal, a gathering of my fellow monitors was convened upon the Lightworkers Crash to distribute the final index collection. It was most unusual to have this vessel of rebirth play host to such an event. Even though Lightworker ships were the only ones still allowed slip-space formations, Lightworkers were responsible for getting us to our places on the active facilities of the array. While all of this was in accordance with the plan, one entirely unsatisfactory breakdown remained. We had no contact with the domain. The history of all Forerunners was now lost to us. We relied upon the permanence of the domain to preserve our record of the events that led to this point. But without that record, would future civilizations know anything about us? Or only of our weapons? My fellow monitor, 049 Abject Testament, had only one comment on this before we went our separate ways.
We deserve to be forgotten.
Perhaps. Perhaps. But now, the portal opens, and through it, the familiar shape awaits. Halo. Home.
Okay, well, that cutscene you just saw seems to show the Halo just moments before they are deployed to their various stations throughout the galaxy, and the monitors would take custody of them. And the big structure you see with the Halo coming out of it in the beginning is known as the Ark, which actually functions as constructing halos throughout the universe. There are actually 7 of these Halo installations in total throughout the galaxy. The monitors themselves, of course, which there are 7, are Forerunner AI constructs, which serve as administrators to the Halo worlds. He did mention the domain, that is, being cut off from the information of the domain. The domain is essentially a vast data repository, like a big library, that the Forerunners created to hold a record of their knowledge and history. And we'll go more into the kind of history of 343 Guilty Spark and what the monitors do and all that, and the Halo rings and all that a little bit later in subsequent videos. Alright, he's just jumping back and forth. Just let me kill you. Alright, well here we see our first example of the Forerunner technology. And this is a light bridge. These are basically created using a system known as hard light. The Forerunners had very advanced technology allowing them to like manipulate light and to make it basically solid, more or less. It's a complex system of like emitters and beams and all that. It's not terribly well explained, but suffice it to say, they can make a bridge out of light. Alien space magic and all that. In contrast to the humans, which just have very, you know, kind of crude, rudimentary things like Gatling guns. Anyway, as I was saying, this is the guy on the back turret is manning the M46 light anti-aircraft gun. Now that gun is actually manufactured by Misria Armory. It is technically designed as, of course, an anti-aircraft gun. It's meant to engage aircraft, but it is also very useful in the ground support role, as we see.
A lot more crew made it off the Autumn than I had predicted. The captain really gave them hell. If we can find Captain Keyes and the other survivors, we have a chance to coordinate an effective resistance.
Another thing that Cortana mentioned when we first entered these tunnels is that, you know, this cave is not a natural formation. Well, obviously, you know, if you looked at it from the outside, you would know that. But the original concept, I believe, was that you would actually enter a cave made out of like the surrounding rock, and eventually it would turn into a constructed tunnel. But of course, that line was left in the game when they changed the graphics. So that's why she says it. You know, this cave is not a natural formation. You think? But originally it was meant to look natural from the outside.
Maybe they took cover in that structure. Let's check it out.
Okay, we have another beam emitter tower. And we have another small structure next to it, which leads underground. Let's clean up the Covenant here before we do that. Let me talk a little bit about some of the enemy types we are encountering. And I'll talk about more of them, as well as some of the Covenant weapons in future videos as well. You know, just kind of spread out the material. So the small little rotund enemies are known as grunts, or in the Covenant, they are actually called the Ungoi. They're at the bottom of the Covenant hierarchy, and they initially served as slaves and performed like logistical duties and labor within the Covenant. Eventually, though, they did gain a spot in the Covenant military hierarchy, and they largely serve as cannon fodder, essentially, hence why we call them grunts. They hail from the frigid planet of Balaho, or Balaho, I don't know, however you pronounce it. The Ungoi actually breathe a methane atmosphere, and they breed very prodigiously. When the Covenant first came upon their world, it was pretty much on the brink of ecological collapse and overpopulation and pollution. They surrendered pretty quickly to the Covenant, and they joined their ranks with the promises of salvation. They have a fairly simple and relatively non-religious culture, which the Covenant found made them very easy to convert. An eventual uprising did leave the Covenant to granting them a position within the military forces. Now, the three types you see in the game is organized by color, as is many of the Covenant. You can see they're color-coded for your convenience. The three types of Ungoi you see in the game are the miners, those wear orange armor, the majors, which wear red armor, and the spec ops, which have black armor, although you will not see the spec ops until very late in the game. And of course, with the change in armor color, as it goes from minor to major and then to spec ops, it generally comes with an increase in their durability. Alright, there's one more fella here. That's a Marine. right around here.
Covering fire!
We should secure the area before the dropship
There
arrives.
we go. Yes, we just did.
Echo 419 to Cortana, come in.
We read you, Echo 419. We have survivors and need immediate dust-off.
Roger, Cortana. On my way. I've spotted additional lifeboats in your area. One near a rock slide, and another near the head of the river. Hard to see from my altitude, but it looks like there are more survivors.
Acknowledged. We're on our way.
Alright, I want to change my passenger because he wasn't doing too hot on health. Get me another Marine. Another grunt. We can use him as cannon fodder. Just like the Ungoi. There we go. Everyone else, hop aboard the Pelican. Alrighty, off we go to the next big disaster. Don't worry, we were all trained by General Tactics McTacterson and Sergeant Super Awesome. We know all the tactics.
Let's do it!
Yeah, that's how we do it.
Make it count!
Actually use the gun in its actual anti-aircraft role. That's why we put it back there. It's an M46 light anti-aircraft gun. What do you think we use it for? That being said, if it does fire 12.7 millimeter rounds, and it's a triple-barreled 50 caliber Gatling gun. Now, such weapons do actually exist in real life. There are such things as 50 caliber Gatling guns, although they would fire 50 cal BMG rounds.
Survivors detected. Marines are concealed in those rocks.
Damn it, they're everywhere! Over here! Roger that!
Let me talk about the tall enemies. The tall blue and red enemies are known as elites, or more accurately, the Sangeli. Sangeli, whatever, yeah. This species is actually at the top of the Covenant military, serving not only as ground commanders, but also in special ops units, and they serve as admirals in the fleet. The Sangeli come from the world of Sangelios, and even before joining the Covenant, they were actually a very advanced society. They had a lot of very, very advanced technology, they had tithe worlds, and numerous other planets within their control. They're essentially the proud warrior race of the Halo universe, like the Klingons of the, the Star Trek universe or whatever. Their culture rested on a military-dominated society long before becoming part of the Covenant. So think like a mix of like the Klingons and the Federation from Starship Troopers or something, right? So the armor that the Sangeli wear is known as a combat harness. Most of these variants have energy shields, and they differ cosmetically actually between the various Covenant fleets. So you can go from one fleet to another, and the armor harness that they wear will be different, but essentially it serves the same function. The blue armor signifies a minor elite, basically the equivalent of a sergeant. These are the small unit leaders of the Covenant. The red armor will signify a major, and this is actually the first step in the obedientiary ranks. Essentially, the majors are equivalent to officers. There are even rarer ones which wear gold armor, and those are the zealots. Brown side, they usually have the rank of field master, but if they're high enough, they can also be admirals in the fleet. So basically you'll see the minors, the majors, the elites, which are gold, and even some spec ops as well. Which of course wear black armor. Because they're special. They're in the special forces. Special operations of specialness. And of course, you see once you basically kill the elite, you've cut off the head of the snake and the grunts will break and run. You will very easily rout them. And again, just to reiterate, I am playing on easy, simply because I just want to get through it, but also because it allows the Marines to have a little bit more life. To live a little longer. Live and fight another day.
It's him.
Let me find some more ammos here. And grab a sniper rifle. I'll talk about the sniper rifle in a later level.
Echo 419 to Cortana. Forerunner's on station and ready for another pickup.
Affirmative, Bowhammer. We're ready for dust-off. Approach when ready. We're going to look for the last lifeboat, Echo 419. Good luck.
Ah, there's our warthog, just where we left it. I suppose it's awfully convenient that we only have to search for a couple of lifeboats. You'd think there would be quite a few more. I mean, obviously they did not all land in the same area. I believe in actuality there is a whole nother kind of side story to this battle that we're fighting currently on this Halo. There's another group of Marines that set up an entire fire base, kind of an area, and they operated on their own, conducted their own operations against the Covenant and all that.
Let's hurry and find the final lifeboat so we can link up with the rest of the survivors. There are some Marines hiding in the hills above the structure.
Over here. Let's do it. They're everywhere. Roger that. Hey, leave some for me. School in session. There it is. Back me up.
Alright, we got some more sniper rifle ammo over there. Here comes some more Covenant. Another issue with the Anniversary Edition is that the animations are, on some of the weaponry loading and all that, is a tad bit off. Yeah, like when he racks the bolt back, pulls the bolt back to chamber around on that sniper rifle, his hand animation doesn't quite match where the bolt lever is.
That's the last of them.
Roger that. I'm on my way.
New traffic on the Covenant BattleNet. I found Captain Keyes. He's being held on a Covenant cruiser, the Truth and Reconciliation, a ship I disabled before we abandoned the Autumn.
Alright, let's get to the Pelican, and we're gonna go rescue the Capitan.
There's our ride. Get aboard and let's get out of here.
Welcome aboard, Master Chief. Ready for dust-off.
Where's the Marines? Here they come. Let's let those boys get aboard.
Floor it.
Come on. What are you waiting for? Move. Move it. Alright, I guess I'll just get on myself then. Alright, that does it for mission number 2, Halo. I will see everyone for the next one.